Benchmarks play a crucial role in the pricing of crude oil around the world. Most crude oil streams price as a spread differential to a global benchmark. The differential of these crudes is determined according to the basis differential, which includes both quality and location basis. Light sweet crude grades have a tendency to trade at a premium over the heavy sour crude grades. The rise in importance of the U.S. crude market comes at a challenging time for other crude oil markets globally. The catalyst for this transformation was the sharp rise in U.S. oil production and the lifting of the export ban on U.S. crude that occurred at the end of 2015. U.S.-based crudes are increasingly sold to Asian refiners, which is positively impacting the role of the WTI crude oil benchmark for the international market. Crude oil can be sold via spot or term sale. Sales will typically occur on a fixed or floating price basis and will be sold as a cash differential to a regional benchmark. The most well-known oil benchmarks are WTI, Brent, DME Oman, and Platts Dubai. The WTI benchmark price is based on a blended series of crude oil streams produced in the U.S. mid-continent. It is physically delivered into Cushing, Oklahoma for the U.S. Gulf Coast and mid-continent via rail and interconnected pipelines. Asian clients may choose to use many underlying crude streams. U.S. crude streams are fully exportable and increasing volumes are being sold into Asian markets. WTI is a waterborne U.S. crude oil benchmark and is accessible in the international market. Let's look at a few examples from the perspective of a refiner and an oil producer. These participants could be looking to put on a long or short-term hedge, depending on their needs. A long hedge is the purchase of a futures contract. It is typically used by refiners, distributors, traders, retailers, and end users to hedge against rising prices. And a short hedge is the sale of a futures contract. It is typically used by producers, refiners, distributors, and traders to hedge against falling prices. In the first scenario, we will look at an oil refiner with a long hedge. Assume an oil refiner wishes to protect its acquisition costs from rising prices. On July 15th, a refiner enters into an agreement to buy 300,000 barrels of crude oil from an oil producer for delivery starting in December. The refiner is at risk to rising prices between July 15 and the December delivery. The refiner could hedge its acquisition costs by buying NYMEX WTI futures. In this case, the refiner would buy 300 December WTI futures contracts at a price of $50 per barrel. In November, the price of oil rises to $55 per barrel. The refiner purchases 300,000 barrels of physical oil for $55 per barrel. The refiner then sells or liquidates 300 December WTI contracts at a price of $55, which results in a $5 per contract profit. The result is a final per barrel cost of $50, which would be $55 per barrel in the physical markets minus the $5 per barrel profit from the futures hedge. Now let's look at a short hedge example. Assume an oil producer wishes to protect its oil revenues from falling prices. On July 15th, a producer enters into an agreement to sell 300,000 barrels of crude oil for delivery in December. The producer is at risk of falling prices between July 15th and the December delivery. One way the producer could lock in its revenue is by selling the appropriate number of NYMEX WTI futures contracts. In this case, the producer would sell 300 December WTI contracts at the current price of $50. In November, this price drops to $45. The producer will sell the physical oil for $45 per barrel. In addition, he will buy back or liquidate 300 December WTI futures contracts at $45. This will result in a $5 per contract profit. As a result, the total revenue equals $50 per barrel, $45 physical plus $5 per barrel futures. CME Group offers crude oil futures and options products to allow participants such as producers, refiners, consumers, importers, and exporters the ability to hedge their risk. For more information on these products, please visit the CME Group Product Specifications page.